Shifting political momentum and key voter priorities shaping the battle for control of Congress as we get closer to the midterm elections. Joining us right now to talk about all this is former House Speaker Kevin McCarthy. He's the chairman of the Alpha Institute. I'm so curious as what you think is happening, sort of where you think the balance of power is right now. We had Mick Mulvaney on yesterday. He said he thinks the administration's sort of popularity is cresting. We keep talking about DSA, this and that, and what you think, 3 months from now, what's really going to look like?
Well, people are not focused just yet. In the next 4 weeks, it'll really show out. You win elections by getting your base and the swing vote. Right now, the Democrats are winning because their base is excited about voting and the Republicans are not. If you don't get your base out, they've got to move the Republican base 4 or 5 points. Otherwise, they're in trouble. Then in a generic ballot, you want to look at where the generic ballot is at. If it's D+3, Republicans can win. Right now, it's sitting at 6.8. Means Democrats will win the House. So there's still enough time. Either you get a little better or the bottom can fall out from you. Republican advantage, money, and redistricting for the House. Even though Republicans sit about 219, they got 10 more seats before the election happens. They only have to win 3 of these 18. But I'm really worried. You've got to watch Iowa. We have all 4 congressional seats there. When I first came in, we only had 1. We haven't had that since 54. Pennsylvania, you got a very popular governor there. Arizona, I don't think our Republican nominee is that strong, and we could lose the House if he doesn't perform, and we lose a couple seats there.
How much of this is a referendum, though, on the White House versus something else?
Well, off years are always bad for the party in power. That's given. Only 2 times in 90 years did the party in power gain seats. So you're going against the trend. But you've got to remember, redistricting's a different, and Republicans have a money advantage. I think it's more about the economy. The number one issue is the economy, and if you talk about anything else, you're losing.
You have an unpopular war that has extended more than 6 months at this point. You have gasoline prices that have been higher and consumers that are tired of inflation because they've been dealing with it going all the way back to COVID.
So does that motivate your base to turn out?
No, what I wonder
You're making
is,
the point.
Yeah, it's a difficult thing to do when you're dealing with all of these issues that are out there. Where do you think we are in terms of a potential solution? And I know this is tough to read, but you are an expert at reading politics, and help us interpret what we're hearing from the White House, what we can expect, and now this situation with Oman.
And I don't think Iran wants to wait.
Oman on top of Iran.
Yeah, I think Iran is always going to wait till after the election. Thinks it gives them some advantage. I don't think that plays into Trump's decision making. I think he's going to try to do whatever is best in that situation.
Right.
Look, the Democrats have a weakness too. They have very weak leadership. That's why the socialists are rising. So you have something to run against to scare people for what they really see. So they've got some bad candidates there. They're really poor on money from that perspective, and they did a bad job with redistricting. So they're at a little disadvantage. The Senate is a different map. Now, I worry on the Republican side that we're going to have to spend a lot of money in safe seats. We're going to be spending a lot in Texas and a lot in Ohio that we normally shouldn't. So that means where does everything else can we gain? Can we pick up? But Democrats failed in Michigan. But what's the last time a Republican won Michigan? It's still not a given for us.
What's the difference between MAGA and being a Republican today?
Well, MAGA is the biggest chunk of the Republican Party. I mean, you got to think President Trump will have like 12 years, so he's able to move a lot. And that moves the Republican Party to something much different, right? It opened the Republican Party to new people who haven't really been there. He built a coalition. But that coalition is tied more to the president than to the party. Because if you watched in the last election where the president won the popular vote, which is a very big deal,
right?
We lost seats in the House. The president won Arizona, Michigan, Wisconsin. And the Senate, Republicans didn't win that. That went against the norm. For the last 70 times in a Senate race during the presidential, 69 and 70 fall exactly how you vote for president. So the Republican Party underperformed the president. Now the president's not on the ballot. So that coalition, that's going to be the hardest part. How do you get the coalition back out? How do you motivate them to vote with the economy not being as exciting? That's the whole election.
Although the economy, the underlying economy looks pretty good. There are just concerns about higher prices at the pump. And
it's what you feel.
That feed through, right?
How much do people care about the debt? We were showing the national debt clock yesterday.
I wish they really cared. Because if they...
Well, it seems like, by the way, nobody seems to care, or people don't care on their respective political party in that particular
period of time.
Name
me one person in the House or Senate today elected because they're going to fight the debt. There's no one. So there's no one in there fighting it. I mean, when we cut the $2 trillion on the debt deal, you got no bump for that, right? But the next presidential election is going to be about the debt, because if you look at Social Security, Medicare, and on the debt, all those trust funds, they're going to get hit during the next presidency.
And so, but which way does that cut?
Which way?
For Republicans or Democrats? Meaning, you look at the amount of debt that's been added to that clock under President Trump, or frankly under Republicans under the last 30 years. Everybody, but not everybody. In terms of the actual dollar volume, you would put it on Republicans. You just empirically would. And so when I say which way does it cut?
No, your biggest drivers are the trust funds. So creating Obamacare and creating Medicaid, where the federal government pays 90%.
The national debt in the last 2 years has gone up. I mean, are we?
Yeah, okay. But if you want to pick and you want to see what the drivers are not the 12 appropriation you build, the Department of War, and the cost of a member of Congress. It's all the trust funds that are driving this. And when Obamacare went and said, we'll pay 90% of everybody who goes on in a state, even though Medicaid was created for the blind, the pregnant, and disabled, we only pay 50% of the match. And if you judge based upon, say, oh, it was during your administration, yeah, but you created an administration before. It's like pumping the well and it gets going. And the problem here is the next presidency, if they don't do something about the trust funds, they automatically get cut by more than 24%. And so you're going to have to campaign on it first before you want to do something when you get elected. That's why I say the next presidency is going to be the debt presidency. You're going to have to talk about it. And the American public has to have that discussion to be able to do something about it by the policymakers when they get elected.
But wasn't that part of the discussion of this last presidential election? I mean, wasn't that the whole story of Doge?
Everybody who's run
wasn't the story of Doge? It wasn't the story of this is what we're going to do?
Oh,
that's not
look,
what I thought. We were told that the debt was not going to go up, that we were going to cut. That I remember the chainsaws, all of the things.
Yeah, look, you are not going to be able to. The debt, to be able to do it, structure dictates behavior. The current structure of the elected parties are not going to be able to get there. We had this exact same problem when we dealt with the collapse of the Soviet Union. How were you going to change a military system built for 4 decades to fight the Soviet Union? What they did, they created BRAC, the Base Realignment and Closure, where every leader picked some people on the side. They went and did it, and all they were promised was a vote with no amendments, right? So up or down. Right. I proposed this to Biden during the debt ceiling.
I remember. Yeah.
Had we done it, and it was a perfect storm because you had certain tax provisions and you had certain Obamacare going out. So both parties could have done something without breaking no new taxes or I won't change Obamacare. Because of that, that was a perfect storm where you could have done something big that we missed.